we also look at e-learning as the excellent tool to address rural communities, women upliftment, adult literacy, and learning for disabled. So these kind of various sectors which otherwise you won't reach is now possible with e-learning. And so finally the e-learning, which is considered to be desktop computer based on web-based learning, though any e-content based learning can be e-learning, but today mostly we talk about web-based learning as the e-learning. So it is happening. The people are realizing the importance and going for a blended learning. There is, along with the classroom teaching, you use for example, to simulate some experiment and show to the students. So you have a blended learning and ubiquitous learning. As I mentioned to you, M-learning adds mobile into the learning environment, but bring context sensitiveness and location awareness to this particular learning environment. That becomes an ubiquitous learning in short. So we are looking at an integrated learning environment using the technologies around us to get benefits of reachability, localization, affordability, increase the retention of the students, and just-in-time solutions, quality content, and user-friendliness and secure way. So next, please. Next. So I'm not going through these things. So there are a number of ways. When you talk about mechanisms and models, so there are different ways. Focus on which stakeholders. That is, what is the kind of a model? Is an instructor is important, or a student is important, or the administrator. So to whom you are actually supporting the solution. This is one way of doing it. Focus on reach. So whether you want to reach what audience. Is it on-campus audience or off-campus audience? Okay, different mechanisms you can look at. And formal or non-formal education, academia or industry, who are your target participants? Okay, is it a distance education or a conventional kind of a thing? And so a number of ways you can look at to arrive at e-learning mechanisms. Yes. So these are the three key things people look at as a learner when you look up. Most of the models are based on behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism. And as you say, behaviorism based on observable changes in behavior, how to train a student, and then cognitivism based on the thought processes behind the behavior, and constructivism based on the premise that we all construct our own perspective of the world and through individual experiences and schemas. So these are the standard things, and a lot of theory developed, and we can look at it, but most of the people, when they talk about instructional design, these three aspects will come into the picture. Next. And so the models are shareable descriptions of e-learning practices, classroom replications. Models integrate technology and pedagogical issues. Some basis on which models vary subject matter focus, or focus on individual tasks, focus on group tasks, focus on building communities. And number of instructional design models are there. Some of the speakers may talk about ARCS model or Bloom's taxonomy, Gagnes model. So these are all having some importance in some context or other. Something, ARCS model is towards motivational design, and Bloom's taxonomy refers to the classification of different objectives set by educators for students, learning objectives basically. And Gagnes model mainly for the informative feedback. Next, please. So that could be seen like performance, usability, accessibility, security, testability, modularity kind of features, and which would be collected automatically, or you will be able to do manually through experts and various stakeholders of e-learning. They'll go into the databases. You will also be able to see the compliance to the standards. So you will be able to come out with some kind of a inspiration from CMM kind of model of Carnegie Mellon, or your own standard. But you need to consider all these parameters in an e-learning environment. You have to see the tool's performance. You should see the content quality. So all these things put together, you will be able to give a kind of maturity level. So this is one aspect that we look at. Next. So content being the key thing, and there are a number of issues involved in content. So content design itself will have some models to meet the needs of the user, and you can see that complete jigsaw puzzle to be completed. You get a usable content only when you have all these aspects in place. Next. This is just a typical model where you have lectures. I only wanted to mention here that when you talk about a lecture, part 1, part 2, part 3, there is a video lecture is divided into 3 to 4 minutes. So the lectures have to be divided into smaller level granules. If you give a classroom lecture as part of the video lecture, that model would fail because retention time of the student before the terminal would be much lesser than the classroom time. Classroom normally people consider 45 minutes as a very effective time. When you come to this, not more than 15 minutes would be a good time where the learner can sit before a system. So you need to understand and make the, and then when you break the lecture itself into different parts, each part should be a complete learning experience on its own. So these things have to be considered. Next, please. So this is one model of how you develop a content, scanning model, which will give a qualifications criteria. This includes the usability, screen layout, consistency, accessibility, navigation, etc. Next. So these are all content-related standards. We will not go into the details. Next. Best practices. I will not go into this. Please. Yeah. Instructional design. Next. I just wanted to, I don't want to take much time already. I have taken more than time, taking advantage of a few speakers here. So I would like to end, and I want to give an opportunity for enough time for the two speakers here, and one from the academia and one from industry here. So we are all looking at what Albert Einstein has told long back, that I never try to teach my students anything. I only try to create an environment where they can learn. So I think e-learning would be the best possible solution to meet the dreams of everyone. Thank you.